Can mindful eating help us reconnect with ourselves and with each other? Why are food rituals like cooking, sharing, and giving thanks quietly disappearing from daily life? Could the way we eat be contributing to our loneliness? And if so, how could the ritual of the meal help heal our culture and our relationships? All of that and more in today's video. What does it mean to share a meal? Not just to eat in the presence of others, but to truly gather. To set the table with care. To wait until everyone is seated. To offer a toast or say a prayer. To pass dishes around in silence or laughter. Knowing the moment matters more than the menu. For most of human history, meals were never just about food. They were about rhythm, relationship, and ritual. A pause in the day to affirm that we belong to each other. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, something shifted. We began to eat alone more often. We rushed. We scrolled. We started treating meals like checkpoints on a calendar, rather than moments to dwell in. And as these little rituals disappeared, many of us felt something else slipping away too. Connection, patience, even joy. What have we lost in the process? And more importantly, what would it take to bring it back? The shift in how we eat isn't just personal, it's cultural and deeply shaped by modern ideologies. As the journalist and professor Michael Pollan argues, eating in the modern world has been redefined by speed, convenience, and an almost clinical obsession with nutrition. The cultural ideology of nutritionism, the reduction of food to merely its biochemical components, emerged as a byproduct of the dominance of fast food, aggressive marketing from the processed food industry, and a scientific mindset that distrusts tradition in favor of measurable data. Why should such a shift matter? While concern for the health impact and nutritional value of food is an objectively good thing, Pollan warns that a reductionist, materialist approach to food that strips it of social and cultural value distorts our relationship with food psychologically and sociologically. Meals, under such a view, are no longer valued for their cultural, emotional, or communal significance, but merely for how efficiently they deliver nutrients. Instead of asking how, why, or with whom we eat, we've learned to only focus on what we eat. Yet eating is not merely a biological act. According to Rachel Hertz, a neuroscientist who studies the psychology of eating, our eating habits are shaped just as much by emotions, environmental cues, and the need for connection as they are by hunger. In traditional cultures where meals are ritualized and shared, eating becomes an occasion of connection and intentionality. However, when eating is reduced to a solitary, utilitarian act, people fill the void by eating for the wrong reasons. Anxiety, boredom, or loneliness. What was once a communal rhythm has become fragmented, impulsive, and private. And in that fragmentation, something quietly essential has been lost. The nutritionist impact on our perception of food extends beyond our eating habits. It impacts the way we view realities as fundamental as vice and virtue. Today, the word gluttony is generally understood to describe eating too much or too poorly. In other words, jeopardizing their health by valuing pleasure over objective nutritional needs. Perhaps because of this perception of gluttony, the very characterization of it as a vice has become deeply controversial, especially as psychologists have learned that shame is often a detrimental motivator for improving eating habits. But this modern framing of gluttony, deeply rooted in nutritionist assumptions, misses the depth and nuance that older moral traditions, like that of Thomas Aquinas, brought to the concept. In the Summa Theologiae, Aquinas defines gluttony not as overeating, but as the habitual desiring of food for the wrong reasons. There are many acts Aquinas would consider gluttony that moderns likely would not. Spending too much money on food, eating at inappropriate times, neglecting social grace at meals, etc. What's striking is that Aquinas' account implicitly acknowledges the social dimensions of eating. To eat too expensively or impolitely is not just a private error. It can signal a life out of balance, disconnected from gratitude, patience, or even community. The vice of gluttony, then, is less about indulgence in itself, and more about losing sight of what meals are for. Understood this way, temperance, the opposite virtue of gluttony, isn't about denial, but rather about restoration, restoring meals to their rightful place as acts of community, celebration, and relationship. How can we restore this communal dimension of eating? One solution is to recover the role of ritual. According to Leon Kass in The Hungry Soul, what sets human dining apart from animal feeding is precisely ritual. Animals eat, but only humans cook, set tables, and say grace. These practices, often dismissed today as unnecessary or quaint, serve a vital function. They elevate the act of eating from mere consumption to something communal, reflective, and civilizing. For Kass, to eat well is not just to eat healthfully, but to eat humanly, with gratitude and a recognition of our dependence on one another. Josef Pieper echoes this sentiment in Leisure, the Basis of Culture, wherein he laments a modern world that no longer knows how to celebrate. According to Pieper, in a culture obsessed with efficiency and productivity, meals have become transactional. Eating is no longer an occasion to be with others, but an interruption to our schedules, a self-care chore to complete quickly and alone. Eating should not be a passive, idle activity. Rather, meals should be moments of intentional openness to celebrating the joys of existence. How do we allow ourselves to celebrate the joys of existence? As Wendell argues in The Pleasures of Eating, eating is far more fulfilling when it becomes an active relationship with the world that sustains us. When we treat food merely as a commodity, detached from the land it comes from, the people who grow it, and the traditions that shape it, we become alienated, losing sight of our role to play in an interpersonal network far greater than ourselves. Pollan, mentioned earlier in this video, makes a similar case in The Omnivore's Dilemma, warning that when we forget where our food comes from, we also forget how to live in thoughtful relationship with the world. But when we do remember, when we trace our meals back to the soil, the sun, the hands that harvested, and the kitchens that crafted, we begin to rediscover food as something sacred. When meals become a celebration of seasons, of place, and of human creativity and care, we embrace a kind of eating that is joyful and rooted, wherein the act of preparing and sharing food becomes an expression of gratitude, expressing not only our love for those we cook for, but also the knowledge that we are loved by those who provide for us. So then, what is the path forward? In short, we must reclaim a holistic understanding of eating. Dining has never been just about fueling the body. It's a human act, rich with meaning, memory, and relationship. Rituals around food are expressions of who we are and what we value. When we prepare a meal with care, when we sit down without distractions, when we share food with others, we participate in something deeply human. We affirm that life is not just something to survive, but something to savor. It may be countercultural in a world obsessed with speed and productivity, but by choosing to eat with intention, we can reclaim meals as spaces of connection, gratitude, and joy. We can choose to honor the table, not as a luxury or a relic, but as a daily invitation to slow down, to be present with others, and to give thanks for the abundance we're privileged to share. What do you think? Should we work to re-establish traditional mealtime rituals? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you can be notified when new videos are released. Also be sure to like this video so that YouTube recommends it to others. If you would like to support this channel for as little as $1 a month, you can also become a supporter on Patreon. Links in the description of this video. We weren't made just to consume. We were made to connect. Every intentional meal, every quiet moment of gratitude, every shared table is a small act of resistance against isolation and hurry. Don't be afraid to slow down and make space, to choose presence. Remember, in nourishing others, we nourish something sacred within ourselves. Let's work towards re-establishing communities together, one step and one meal at a time. Peace be with you. This has been The Philosopher.